careful.
All right. Welcome to this open session about the Reconnective Leadership and Social Arts Camp at the Gathering of Tribes. Today, I'm with Uri from the Bama Maps tribe that's organizing this camp. So the flow today will be a very quick introduction to the Gathering of Tribes, which I hope is getting more to the point and shorter every time we give it. It's part of our exercise here. And then we will talk about Bama Maps and the camp at the gathering, and then we'll have a Q&A. If you have questions during the initial conversation, feel free to write them in the comments or we'll take them up at the end. We're a small group today, so we can have more fun and be more in the flow with it. So to start on the gathering is, and I get to the philosophical one, to the philosophical explanation often too quickly and forget the practical one. It's 11th to 15th of September in Portugal, in person, in nature, a gathering of the regenerative change maker ecosystem, people working on reinventing many parts, all of the parts of our matrix of our society. And the key things to understand about the gathering, about our DNA, how it's different from maybe some other events, is it's fully co-created. So if you're familiar with unconference format or Burning Man or other things like this, the reason for this is the goal is to unlock everybody's creativity and to build an ecosystem of collaboration. And we believe the best way to do this is by practicing what we preach and making the event co-created, and collaboratively co-created is a key part of that. It's in nature, so you can camp or you can have glamping. There is many reasons for this. There is lots of science and personal experience from all of us, how being in nature just feels different than being in a city. There is the aspect of regeneration, a key part of regeneration being rethinking and rebuilding our relationship to nature. So doing this in an air-conditioned conference room in the middle of a big city misses a key player from that equation. And there is also the beautiful space that nature offers for ad hoc conversations, walks together, sitting down and eating together. There's just more in between, and the space is more flexible in nature. There's also a key thing that having a festival like this offers in nature is that the whole area is just people that are part of the festival. And this really enables us to play with culture and to, for 5 days, fully live the culture that we dream of. Audrey, what have I missed?
I think it was pretty comprehensive. You're getting good at it. No, yeah, it was great. Maybe just on few words on where we are right now. I was literally about to write a message saying that we officially have 20 camps selling tickets live on the website as of right now. Yuri, you're the 20th one, which is really exciting. And I was just browsing through our website and seeing this beautiful mosaic of colors and ideas and people and dreams and actions, and I think it's fantastic. And we're working through the pathways of how people can enter the space, but it's a very inclusive space, and we have co-designed it really with this idea that that anyone can come and feel the resonance to one camp or another and then join that space. And I'm particularly excited about, yeah, your camp, Yuri, and what's coming together there. We have 2 camps that are a bit more focused on art and immersive art experiences. But yeah, I just really love your take on how you connect that with direct action in the world. So looking forward to diving into that in a second.
Great. So, well, since we're a small group, maybe you can play with the format. Alex, do you have any questions about the gathering itself? Sorry, I muted you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I know nothing about this, so I'm very interested to find out about everything, where it is, what time it is, um, where, yeah, everything, how much it is, where it is.
Brilliant. So yes, I didn't say it's in Portugal. Audrey's, I think I need to switch to Audrey's version of the background, which says where it is. It's 11th to 15th of September. And the reason for the timing is we're trying to capture this harvest energy, harvest time energy that the fall has, where it has this beautiful balance of summer is over, we're gathering the harvest, so we're celebrating, and yet winter is coming, so it's time to roll up the sleeves and get to work. And this is the balance that we're trying to create in the gathering. We are celebrating this beautiful ecosystem, the great work that everybody's doing, but there's a lot of work ahead. So let's also roll up our sleeves and connect for action. The whole goal of the event is to bring people and create a culture where we are connecting for action. So finding what we can do together. So that's the gathering. Now let's talk about the Bama Maps and the camp. So I always tend to miss the human side. I love organization so much, but maybe you can say a few words, Uri. Where are you today? Under a beautiful tree, and yeah, maybe just, do you have a lightning fast version of what life path took you to be under this tree today?
Yeah. So I actually I never been in this particular tree, but I found the image so inspiring. But I feel I'm under the tree of knowledge and of nature, the blessing of my ancestors, my father, who has been an ecologist, and my mother, a dancer, and me trying to figure out why did I came to this world, and being broken into pieces by society and by everything, and then refining it and finding nature as a sort of a blessing and a healing. And I like the light that comes out from this virtual tree and my hand, and the feeling of how nature is such a blessing for our awakening. So that's how I got under this tree today.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think this is definitely something that unites a lot, if not most of us in this space and in the movement, and certainly the people who will be excited to come to an event outdoors, is rediscovering and having a meaningful relationship to nature in whatever way. It's very different for different people, but I think I see this as a key part of the times, that the zeitgeist of the times that we're in, that we are rediscovering and reconnecting with nature and discovering that we're actually part of it, and there is no such thing as separation. So let's talk about Bama Maps. So maybe we can start with, why does Bama Maps exist?
Yeah, so it has been a journey to arrive to Bama Maps and to the name, which I feel some people like, some people don't like. I like to explain the meaning of the name because it comes from Ba and Ma, which are two names for space in Japanese. And Ma is my teacher, Arawana Hayashi, likes to bring that concept of empty space or pause, or, you know, if you think about a Zen art or Zen garden, the empty space that gives sense to to the to the to the whole, negative space and empty space. It's also the pause, and the ba is a, by some Japanese scholars, like a knowledge mobilizing space, so the knowledge space. So the ba and the ma is the knowledge that is created in the empty space for me. And also conveniently, Bama in Hebrew, which is my mother tongue, it is stage. But it's also an elevated place. So it's also not just the theater stage, it's everywhere basically that something of significant happens. So and the maps are, for me, is the spatial awareness technology that is very old and is still being created. And it has been born from a research ongoing and around, I'm a social arts practitioner, facilitator, trainer, teacher, consultant, and I've been looking to this intersection of the social arts and business and what could it bring to business. And then I was coming into the realization that people in my interviews, people in companies have the same needs as people anywhere, which is well-being, and arts can help with creativity, with inspiration, with health, in a social health, not a medicalized health. And then as I was researching and building the team and the concept, also what came clear to me that it wasn't just the arts that was helping me as an ex-soldier to reconnect, it was nature. And arts and the nature had sort of, so the arts or the theater brought me to reconnection with nature. So my own sort of journey, practitioner journey, has been unfolding to more clarified as nature and ourselves as a nature. So my own body as a nature, as an ecosystem, and other people as living ecosystems, and then recognizing, nature as a same, like you were sharing. So in the essence, Bama Maps is right now is a company registered in the UK. We registered last week, last month, last year. I don't know when, but we're building experiences and platform for experiencing reconnection with nature through play for increasing well-being. And this is done through experiences, real life experiences, but also through creating a platform where these real life experiences could be discovered or co-created or amplified or scaled. So right now we're building a lot of relationships and partnerships and team. And I guess I will be jumping into the next question when I say I'm excited about creating a physical gathering around that. Then that will be a first in the gathering of tribes, that we will meet physically, because there's been a lot of online iteration.
Beautiful. And in terms of who is Bama Maps for, who is part of it now, how do you imagine it growing? What kind of people? What's the, I guess, what's the direction that you're going? And what would the big dream, now that I see you with the light coming out of the top of your head? Yeah, lean back, lean back.
Mm-hmm.
Lean back, Uri. Lean back.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now you have the big light coming out of your head. Tell me the big vision of where you see the ultimate Bama Maps of what it could ultimately become.
The ultimate part is that nature reconnection becomes the base of culture. So right now we have the European Championship, and I'm following that as well. And football, you can say, is one of the fundamental of global culture right now, for better or worse. And I'm not going to challenge trying to challenge football. But I am going to vision, to dream that nature reconnection practices could be part of the future foundation of the culture on Earth, and Bama Maps is part of that, making that happen in some way or supporting that. So that's a big vision or dream for the world, but also for Bama Maps, that we help bring nature reconnection to be. That's something like I go to a football match and I go to nature reconnection, and that's as popular and as inspiring and as visible and as yeah.
Uh, that's beautiful. I mean, I have so many things I would love to add to that, but I don't want to take your spotlight. However, you didn't answer my question. Well, I mean, you did, but you didn't. So in this vision of this new world that you see,
Yeah.
what is Bama Maps? Do I go to the Church of Bama Maps with
No, it's a
picture of
platform.
Uri with the light coming out of his head on a
Yeah.
tree at the front?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
But
Hopefully.
what would the organization look like?
Yeah. So,
that world?
I believe in platforms, and I think everything in the world right now is going towards platforms. If we think about technological platforms for media like YouTube and stuff like that, and decentralizing of that type of media, for better or worse, is part of a trend. So what I see Bama Maps being is a platform for nature reconnection practices and practitioners. Many people, not just me. I'm not going to be the guru of nature reconnection. That's not my goal. And if I would say it's the opposite, I could see many people that are already doing it, and there are many people doing it around the world that are not maybe getting the visibility and accessibility, and there's not enough validation maybe of this. So if I put a sign right now in the marketplace, or on the bar, nature reconnection practices, I'm not sure how many people will sign up or even get what it means, right? And we sometimes try that, right? So but so there is a building a whole awareness, but in a more concrete way, you can say, what is Bama Maps in this culture of reconnection world? It is one of the platforms, maybe like the YouTube or the television channels, where people discover and find content and find other creators, and create on it. So it's a creator's platform for this reconnection practices and journeys.
Beautiful. So in this context, what does making a camp, you already mentioned you're excited about bringing people together in person, but tell me a bit more how you see building a camp at the gathering fit into your strategy, into the Bama Map strategy for the next 12 months. Let's be specific now.
Yeah, so before you actually asked me about who is in Bama Maps and who is it for, and I feel like these two questions are still pending in a way, because I've been able, I'm pretty good in converging people around a vision and idea, not so good in holding them together for a long time. And especially, I think in some ways this online world has been benefiting me, and sometimes it was like, so I felt like I've been building a team around Bama Maps several times in the last 2-3 years, and this team has been going into reset mode. And what I'm excited about focusing on creating a camp for gathering of tribes, to see it as a ground zero in which we move from the two-dimensional and the kind of a bit fluffy, but we really ground it and we really bring it to earth and to the three-dimensional experience. And so I see it as a camp for people that really want to be part of creating that vision in different ways, either, the technological aspects, but also from the human social arts practices, the nature practices, different angles. So they're bringing different stakeholders together, people that really can really tell us how to get there. And we start walking together in a very concrete kind of on the ground way. So that's part of why I would say it is a strategy. to focus on the camp and Bama Maps. And not only Bama Maps, because it's actually a co-creation with Imagine Action and the Albero. So Imagine Action is a network of social artists that I'm coordinating. And right now, Bama Maps is the fiscal host because Imagine Action doesn't have a legal structure. So it's physically hosting Bama Maps, and also the Albero, which is the artistic collective of me and my partner. We're partnering with Bama Maps for this camp. And the idea is to bring social artists and leaders and potential team members and co-creators of Bama Maps for a 5 days experience of co-creation and listening and creation, which becomes the sort of ground zero of foundation work for this.
I love it. I love the vision because this is exactly one of the key motivations that I've had for creating the gathering, because I've been working remotely for 20 years, and I've also tried to start many different paid, unpaid, impact, all kinds of ventures online, and really felt the pain of, it's easy to get the initial gathering and connect to lots of people, but it's quite hard to build momentum, and to really create the unity for action is really, really hard to do it entirely online. It's possible, but there is just so much power that we get, an energy that we get from coming together in person. So I don't know if when I talked with you about the gathering, I told you this idea of whether you sensed it yourself that this would be a useful way of using the gathering, but it's definitely a key invitation for online networks and groups to come together and use the gathering as a retreat for their community, for their organization. So yeah, next let's go to Q&A. We're a small group, so maybe we can just do rounds. And yeah, maybe do you want to start us off, Audrey? I see you've turned your video back on.
Sure, I can. I'm very curious about what's going to happen in the camp, Woody, because I know you have different ticket types, including a ticket specifically for artists. And I'd love if you could explain your vision a bit more of what kind of people are you inviting into the space, and how do you see them co-creating there?
Yeah, so it still is, the camp in that sense, it still is in co-creation mode, and it might be in co-creation mode even when we're going to be there, or most likely. But how so far I've been envisioning it, and that's why it's called Reconnective Leadership and Social Arts as well, is to bring both social artists, and I'm very wide with the definition of social arts, and it's a way for me to include theater for change, which is where I come from, and this is where my main network is, Theater of the Oppressed, Social Pressing Theater. But I'm using social arts because I'm very interested in all the arts, visual arts, sound arts, not just the performing arts, although this is where I come from. And I'm very interested in the intersection of society and arts. So what can arts bring to society, and what can kind of social change, impact of arts and system change, not just social change, which is very, I think, yeah, it's great, but then thinking systemically. And reconnective leadership, which again, I'm very wide in my definition of leadership. I feel we are all leaders of ourselves, of our own life, and we're all potential leaders. And at the same time, there are people that are in a position of power for whatever reason, and either organizationally or otherwise. And I'm really interested to create some kind of pairing between social artists and leaders in this camp that will work together to explore what does reconnecting with nature through play can really mean in a concrete way, and create prototypes. So how I imagine it is, we gather in the morning, we have some home groups, maybe 4 or 5 people that we meet every day to share story and who we are. And then we go into co-creation mode, which could include things that people brought. So we have already some people who have been attracted. They have a body of work that they would like to share. And there's been some really inspiring practitioners that can bring movement or like interactively present their body of work and get feedback and brainstorm. So this could be happening internally, but I'm also very interested that our camp is a kind of inner outer, and we're actually bringing that to the other camps. So we're building an intention in the morning and an evening, but then we're also maybe opening up our camp to the other camps in the gathering through highlighting a certain practice or a workshop or a performance that is brought by the co-creators of the village, which again are the people, the artists and the leaders, the reconnective leaders and social artists, and some are both, that will work together for its co-creation, if it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense and I love it so much. It makes sense, but also it's one of those things that I really can't really imagine until you go there and see it. So I just want to say I really love the fact that within your camp, you're sort of already imagined or ideated what Victor I think was mostly thinking through and thinking about the gathering. We always talk about this rubbing of elements, right? So what happens if you put the scientists next to the artists, and what happens if you put the business leaders next to I don't know, to someone else that they don't usually meet in daily life, and you're really bringing this sort of level of diversity within the camp. What happens within the camp? So, I mean, when you go a little bit more in depth with those people and those groups of diverse humans, and then when you come out into the wider gathering. Just a side note, communication of my excitement for what you're doing. Great. I have one more question, and then Alex, I want to let you maybe jump in also. What do you need?
So right now, so I'm glad the tickets are out. Now we need 14 social artists and 14 leaders at least. That's the first goal, milestone, to come for 5 days and co-create. And we also might need, and we had some people who want to come as a support system. So I would be hosting, but so we might have a few hosting teams. So we probably I need a group of 28 to maybe more 35 that wants to let's go to Portugal and do that. And that's the main thing. I think more on the beyond the camp or after the camp, what I would really love to see is that there is a very grounded, loving, caring community of co-creators that create beautiful projects together, and I can imagine more projects being born there. That's a sort of dream of mine, that there, that this idea of a leader and an artist, or maybe a group of artists and leaders, really transformed into concrete projects that we then see, and Bama Maps becomes a sort of a support system and a partner for those projects, or is in a way. And then, of course, just what with Victor said, like I would really love to really feel and touch this team and feel, okay, here we're doing it, we're jumping into it, and yeah, that's the other part of what's after. But right now, it's just the right people coming in and jumping into this camp.
Come play, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Alex, you are our wonderful, beautiful outsider, hasn't heard much, so really look forward to your questions. Having heard what you've heard so far, what are the questions on the top of your mind?
Questions. I think logistically, it needs to have a very concrete system. So, for example, I travel to Portugal. Where do I go? How do I get there? How much does it cost to get there? Do I get public transport? Is there transport paid on private avenue? How will I know when I get there? Is it some kind of random forest somewhere I might bump into if I go the right direction? Or is there kind of some kind of encampment is structured enough, I feel safe?
Yeah, and I feel probably Audrey and Victor can help more with that than me, because
I
I
can
know.
speak to that. Go for it.
Audrey?
I'm one of those rare people that, yeah, I'm one of those rare people that genuinely gets excited about logistics. So we have some information on the website, Alex, about really how to get there. The land is really in deep nature, but it's really close to an airport. So there is quite a lot of information there. I can already tell you, you basically need to fly into Porto, which is in the north of Portugal. It's one of the two main airports. And then you can grab a cab, share a cab from Porto to the land. It's not even 40 minutes. And then on the land, either you can bring your camping gear or we rent out camping gear also, or you can rent out a glamping tent with mattresses and so on. So that's in terms of how to get there and where you're going to sleep. If you want to grab a hammock and sit between trees, you can also. In terms of food, there will be food vendors on the land, and there will be community kitchens, and the camps will organize themselves. We're linking up local suppliers so we can order fresh foods and veggies organic from the farms nearby every day. That's it. Your basic needs basically are covered. The land has infrastructure, it has showers and toilets and a lake to swim in. So then it's just really for you to think through what level of comfort you would be more, you'll be flowing more with, or what level of comfort will allow you to co-create at your best,
And
level, and that's it.
Yes. So where do I find this website?
Gatheringoftribes.earth. I'll put the link in the chat section and we'll post it in the YouTube description also when we post the recording.
Yeah.
Wow, you're fast with it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Are you on Facebook?
I had it already I copied, so it was easy to paste. But yeah, and maybe just to say to Alex also, we will have a tent, a main tent for the camp within this gathering of tribes. And we might not have our own cooking right now. That's not in the plan. But we will probably create space time for people to cook together if they want, or find food from the vendors in the place. We also try to work as a community and figure out the arrivals so matching people for the arrivals in terms of taxis and stuff like that, or cars. Hopefully, we'll have people from Portugal coming as well, or horses, whatever's possible.
Donkeys.
Wow,
Donkeys are definitely underrated.
setting in the challenge. Who will arrive by horse?
We'll arrive by horse.
There were some people who were looking at sailing up the nearby river, but I think for whatever logistic reasons they realized it wasn't going to happen. But
So yeah, you get off the plane, you get onto a donkey.
With the logo of Bama Maps on their
Yes.
chest.
Yeah.
Yes. And
beautiful.
you know, we're not very far there from, I guess, Camino de Santiago, and you know, I invite people to walk if they have the time and the energy.
There's actually an invitation to walk the Camino from the gathering.
Mm.
There will be a group walking. It's about 7 days because we're already fairly north and not so far. So this is also an interesting option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never done the Camino, but I feel we are in a place that we really need to start to think about alternatives for our current transportation situation, and it, you know, my daughter, who is 10, who just arrived home, she, from time to time when we drive on the car on the road, she said, like, she started to envision a world where, no, wouldn't it be great if there are no cars and roads and we'll just go
It
by
would-
horses and
It
uh,
looks, yeah.
and I noticed my own resistance, but but then I feel like yes, you know, if we are talking about this regeneration and recovering, in the end, you know,
So why are you driving a car?
why are we driving hard? You know, because we don't have a horse, first of all, or a space where to put it, and the school is about 7 minutes by car. So by walking, it will be, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours every day just to go to school and back, and then do the shopping to
No
another place.
bus?
So will be just
No bus?
no,
Yeah.
no.
So I think it feels like for the recorded part of the call, we have lots and lots of things to talk about and explore. And I look forward to continuing this conversation in person, September, the Gathering of Tribes, just north of Porto. And yeah, thank you very much. Last closing word, Uri?
Yeah, like I want to say the tickets are live, and part of the idea is that we have different price for artists and for leaders, and the idea is also to build some revenue sharing model. So there, everybody pays a ticket, but especially for the artists, I am calling now, come. The price is lower, and also you'll get 30% of the revenue of what we're going to make. So we're actually ideally go over it, so it's actually become a source of income. Because I know, as myself being a social artist, that it's tough, and I make a lot of calculations, like, should I go to this conference and build some network and pay the 300 euro ticket? Will it's worth it or not? I don't know, but I don't want to create this situation here. So there is a ticket because it's all self-funded, but it's 100% regenerative. So it's 300% regenerative, I would say. Investment in not just in the world, but also in you and your work.
Yes. Thank you for highlighting that, because this is a key thing about the gathering. It's not just entertainment. It's not entertainment at all, actually. It's about investing in your career, in your organization, and there is the celebration component, but it also has the yin yang of the building our livelihoods and building our work. So we very much invite everybody, every organization and everybody who's coming, to think of how will I get value for the investment that I make in time, in effort, in money. How will I ensure that I get value? And this is actually a gift, because if you're coming with this intention, it's not about taking, it's about taking care of yourself, which means taking care of the ecosystem. So yeah, think through, and I think there's huge many ways of how this participating can support one's livelihood and one's projects. But it's an important thought journey to go on. Thank you.